What's up, everyone? Welcome to my corner of the internet. I'm your host, Ryan Kramer, and this is Crossover Commerce, presented by PingPong Payments, the leading global payments provider helping sellers keep more of their hard-earned money. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Crossover Commerce. My name is Ryan Kramer, and this is Crossover Commerce, my corner of the internet, where I bring you the best and brightest experts in the Amazon and e-commerce industry, sharing their insights on the most important aspects to selling online. Again, we talk anything on the show regarding sourcing logistics. We talk about cross-border payments. We talk about product sourcing, product ideation. How do we get products from different kinds of products selling on Amazon all the way to direct to consumer and everything in between. Really, it's a show trying to help you, the listener, to elevate your e-commerce industry. Whether you're a brand that's a multi-million-dollar brand, or you're just getting started on Amazon, or selling directly on your own Shopify store, this is the show for you. So thanks for tuning in live. The beauty about this show live, if you're listening to this or if you're watching to us, is that we actually field questions. So if you have a comment or you want to ask something of me, the guest, or me, the host, or the guest, you can actually do that on social media, again, on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Go ahead and do that as well. So with that being said, before we get any further into the matter, Crossover Commerce is presented by PingPong Payments. PingPong is a cross-border payment solution that has helped millions of customers now with cross-border payments and facilitating payments at $150 million a day, over $90 billion today in facilitating, paying out to VAs, employees, manufacturers, and even sourcing agents to receiving on different platforms. So if you're selling on multiple marketplaces and repatriating your money, PingPong can help you save more of your money when it converts funds from one currency back to your localized one. So go ahead and check out PingPong Payments today. You can sign up for free, and it's easy to save money today, especially in the day where there's so many different fees going on with sourcing logistics and supplies all over the world. This is one area where you have control over your fees, and that is with PingPong Payments today. Again, sign up, go ahead and mention Crossover Commerce sent you. Again, this is episode 148. That means 148 episodes of talking with specific Amazon and e-commerce experts in this space. I'm really excited to touch on today because as we see in different types of capacities, there's different ways to find product research, right? Anywhere from just looking at what's trending through technology, or what's trending on social media, or you just come up with your own idea itself. You have to actually validate those audiences, making sure that's worth your while in time, money, and effort. And that's obviously really important. But today we're going to be talking about, specifically, we've titled this episode, Amazon Product Research and the Importance of a Solid Business Plan. Before you get going, like building a house or a great building, you want to have a solid foundation. And without doing that, it's all going to come tumbling down on you if you don't have that solid foundation. So that being said, brought on expert in this area of the space, Fabian David of AMZ Savages. And before we get him on, he's actually the founder and CEO of this business, spent the last decade specializing in Amazon FBA businesses. He's exited his business, but also perfected the art of product research and helping others get their businesses off and running and developed as well. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and bring on Crossover Commerce, Fabian David. Fabian, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for the intro, man. Great to see you, and thanks for having me here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we were. I was introduced to you, and I've actually been. I love following people that are creating great content, but also great thought leaders. You've been in the space for a while, so for people who are not as familiar with your AMZ Savages or just you specifically, what's kind of that storied background of you? How did you get into Amazon? How are you at where you are today?
Yeah, so start with a short intro about myself. I first experienced business when I was 15, when I had my first computer, actually, and that was my first love. And after that, I experienced a lot of other businesses until I discovered Amazon. back in 2013, 2014, when there were actually no tools available on the market. So doing product research and launching new products. Actually, launching new products was easy, but doing product research, it was a guess. So
Right. So no like Helium 10, Jungle Scout, or Viral Launch, or
nope,
any of those tools. Very, very
no,
early
absolutely.
days of those. Right.
Actually, I grew up with them. I grew up when Greg launched initially Jungle Scout. I was
Sure.
among the first one on the Facebook group, on his Facebook group, and
Nice.
then Manny when he started developing the Helium 10 with the first tool or tools. That was amazing, and I was again among the first ones on the group. And this is how I became obsessed with this business.
Right.
Um,
So
and
how'd you get in at such an early age? I'm curious. Let me stop you right there. How'd you get in a very early development of those now pretty prominent tools that are, helping beginner sellers into enterprise level sellers now?
Well, I had a restaurant prior discovering Amazon. I had a restaurant, and I was doing good, but it wasn't something that I loved. I was spending a lot of time there, and I was very sad, to say like this, because I was looking for something else all the time. I wasn't doing it with pleasure. So a friend of mine introduced me Amazon through a live conference in Bucharest, in Romania. I'm originated from Romania, and he introduced me. He showed me the also was just launched the Amazing Selling Machine, if I remember well.
Right. The
And
first course slash
yeah,
conference. Yeah, that a
exactly,
lot of people join.
exactly
Exactly.
the first course. And I remember it was very, very expensive, man, like $5,000. And I said, okay, money at the end of the day is not a problem, but I think it's too much, for the beginning to start with. So let's see if I can do it myself, because my first love was the computer, right? So I was very familiar with the internet and computers. So I said, let's do some trial and error first, and that's all I needed, because after that, I literally spent an obsessive amount of hours. I was literally spending like 16 hours a day, 7 by 7. The first 3 years, this is what I did.
Wow.
I remember well today, and when I have when I'm chatting with people like you, I remember all the time, because literally in 3 years I took like 2 breaks, 7 days and 7 days, and that's it. Um, and I believe,
This is trying to sell on Amazon. This is just
yeah,
you're just hammering away 2 straight years.
selling on Amazon and start working for and with other people in the same time. So
Wow.
this is how I managed to improve myself in such a matter. Well, if you can say it in a short matter of time. For me, it's short. Um, um, but yeah, basically, this is how I started. So I started selling on Amazon initially by myself. Then I failed initially with two products. Then I met my business partner Colin, and we start over again. And in the same time, working for other people, just because I wanted to learn completely from A to Z all the processes involved into the business that
Mhm.
are part of the business, like product research, doing sourcing, doing PPC. Actually, I managed for clients. I managed PPC. I did PPC management for a year. I learned the importance of photography, branding. So I did them with experts as well. But I wanted to see completely how it's done, and I did a lot of. I'm obsessed with testing. I'm obsessed with data analysis, data collection.
Sure.
So this is when after we stopped selling on Amazon, we sold our brands and we stopped selling because I became obsessed with product research, and because I understood the importance of the product research in the business. If you don't have the right product, no matter how good your marketing is, no matter how much money do you have, right, or how many experts do you hire, it will be very, very hard to sell something that people don't want.
Right. So yeah, your story is fascinating. So just to recap, you started yourself, you failed at that. Your products just didn't take off, or what do you think I think it's important to know, like, did you recognize why you failed? Was it lack of market, or
I
the
know
product
exactly
wasn't
the
any good?
reason. I know exactly the reason. It wasn't. And when I'm looking at the product now, I always, it fascinated me because the main competitors back then, that they launched actually the products before me, after me, they are now the best sellers in the niche still. And I'm talking about the cutting board, the bamboo cutting board here.
Mm-hmm.
And the product back then was amazing. The only problem was that I got stuck with the cash flow.
Gotcha.
I didn't know exactly what to take into consideration and the importance of it. And that's why today we're talking about the importance of a solid business plan, because the main reason of my first failure was not having a business plan first, and second, not taking into consideration everything that needs to be taken as a cost, fee, charges, and ongoing first time, ongoing costs, and it's and there's a lot of them. And cash flow, for example, was the main reason why I initially failed.
Well, interesting. So you were successful. I'm gonna kind of put this in
Yeah,
different
I
way. You were
ran out of stock.
You
I
were
ran out of stock.
successful so much, but you didn't plan for the success appropriately. Therefore, because of that intermittency of you couldn't scale quickly enough, someone else came in and subverted that and took over bestseller. Therefore, kind of leaving you in the dust. Is that a fair assessment to say?
So 100%. So to brief you, to shortly brief you about the how it went till the day of launch, until I said, okay, I have to quit because I can't, be stuck like this all the time with the money and inventory. So I had to move on. I launched the product, and in the first month was kind of a struggle because there were no ranking strategies. There were no,
What year was this, by the
social
way?
links. In 2013, 2014.
Okay, so we're talking pre any sort of tool. We're talking about any sort of business that wasn't.
100%.
There was no playbook. There was no strategy, SOP, anything like that. This was
No,
you
nothing.
putting products on Amazon.
Nothing.
That's it.
At least from what I know, from what I'm aware of.
I think I think that sounds about right. I think 2014, 15, determining maybe Jungle Scout early days
was launched,
like
the first launch in 2015 or 14 or 15, stuff like that. Mid 2015.
Someone needs to write a book on all these timelines and stuff like that too. We'll do that one.
Yeah. Exactly. And I remember after the first month, so I was playing with the price a lot and with the PPC campaigns. That's all I knew what to test. And at some point, one day when I woke up, from 3-4 units a day, I found myself, checking the account, the seller account, and I discovered I was selling. I sold 35 units
in one day
till that hour in one day.
Oh,
and I said, wow. So, and I knew because I was doing all the changes that I was doing. I was doing notes, and I was making them, step by step. So when I was changing the price, that's all that I was changing. I wasn't doing, 3-4 changes, like title change, like tweaking the bullets, tweaking the keywords in the bullets, and that's when I realized, well, this is it. So the price, it's a very important point in increasing the velocity, the sales velocity. So now let's see what's next, and let's see how the sales are going. So I kept the price like that for, I remember, for 7 or 10 days, and the sales increased, and after 7 days they tanked. So the sales tanked. I reached like 50 units a day. I didn't have too much inventory back then. It was the initial inventory. I remember I started with 600 units. And
so at that rate, we're talking what, 12 days if my math is correct?
Yeah, I got scared. So I increased the price to normally lower the sales velocity, right? And it happened for 1 day, and after that, actually, the sales velocity got again back up and increased. And obviously, I ran out of stock. In the meantime,
Fabian, I think we lost some connection with you, so I'm gonna just try to talk. Oh, you're there. Okay, perfect.
I'm here. Yeah,
I think you're just video. Nope, you're good. You were in the middle of an important conversation when I was on edge, and I wanted to make sure I heard it. So go ahead.
No, I'm here. Sorry for that. And the timeline, the production timeline, was 35 days, and because it's a heavy product, it's weighing like 3 pounds, something like that.
Sure.
There's the only way to ship those to Amazon is by sea.
Right. Cost effectively, or you mean?
Exactly. And 2.5 months overall to have the since day one, starting new production, and having the inventory to Amazon, and that's a long time. Right. But I said I wasn't aware of algorithm punishment and all of these things. Anyway, it was in early stages with the algorithm too, so it wasn't that big of a crime if you ran out of stock for a couple of times, if I remember well. So I waited. I ran out of stock. I left the listing open like that. There were no strategies, man. Literally, there were no strategies.
You're just figuring this out as you go in the middle of something as booming as what Amazon was in that day and age. We call it, or I say people call it the Wild West days of you literally can try any sort of strategy, lots of success, can throw almost any product up there. The eyeballs are becoming more prevalent. You can manipulate the system to your favor a little bit more, but that's interesting. You said you just left it open. There was no downside to doing that. Nothing. Which is nowadays that's not the case. You have to have it. Yeah, you're dead. I was gonna say. So when you get back on stock, you get it after a month or so, a month plus, which is now a good turnaround time for getting your products. Not the case now, but turnaround time decently quickly. You throw it back on there, ranks back up to normal, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it took like literally 3 days, and I hit 100 a day again.
Wow. Yeah, that's fascinating, and that's just in one marketplace. That's pretty basic nature of a product that somewhat sells itself to by all standards, correct? It's nothing truly unique. There was nothing unique about it, like
nothing.
It was double-sided or anything like that. Yeah,
it wasn't a bundle. It wasn't something really special. It was what I knew that I have to do is to improve the product and make it a bit different from the others, not to start a price war with the rest, with the competitors. And I remember we added a feature like knife, sharp knifing,
a nice sharpener on the side.
Sharpener. Yeah,
there you go.
And deeper margins for liquid collection and all those things.
Mhm.
And it was a very good product, actually. I still have a couple of them as a memory. And
Sitting on them, yeah, sitting on them
yeah,
in
yeah,
your
yeah.
kitchen.
And I sold out. So I ordered 1,000 units again,
Oh wow!
and I sold out in 10 days. And
So you're talking, yeah, 1,000 units. You're doing 100 per day then. So
yeah, that was the average.
wow, that's amazing.
Sold out again. And
And your margins are good. You're making money on this. Everything's thumbs up for all intents and purposes.
exactly,
Correct? Okay.
exactly. And the third time, I increased the price. It
I think we lost you again, Fabian. So you increased the price, I'm assuming, to something of either 1 or 1.5 times. Yeah, what would you increase your price to? I'm
No,
sorry.
I remember I increased the price with 20% because they were coming in the market. They were coming aggressively. The main competitors now, the best selling listings
Mhm.
that you can find when you search a baboon cutting board. There's a couple of them, three, four main players in the niche that are dominating the niche. And then they launched initially the products, and they were coming with huge budgets, I assume. And I increased the price with 20%. And when I got back in stock again, 1,500 units, then I don't know what happened, because the something happened with the algorithm, like it's happening today. And the third time, it just the sales. I didn't get the sales anymore.
Interesting. So you found early success. You were finding like you've been increasing pricing. It wasn't really affecting your rank in that capacity, but someone came in and either rewarded you based upon either inventory limits, potentially ranking
I
in
guess
terms of like
I guess
advertising
I
higher
guess
budgets. Okay.
I guess because the other guys were having a lot of strategy in place,
Hmm.
and I wasn't having any strategies actually at all in place. The only strategy that I knew back then was the PPC,
Hmm.
and
And still then it
price.
wasn't very, yeah, if this was what, 2014, 15, still
Yeah,
not very
yeah, yeah,
prevalent in the
yeah,
PPC
yeah,
world.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
So
remember
yeah.
Jungle Scout was announced when I had to stop.
Okay. So tools are becoming a thing. Back when you initially went through the brunt of figuring out things on your own, you were finding all these different capacities of what people wanted. There was no really insight into a customer data from your data person. You said, Fabian, you said there's no real tool or no real way to look at demand, no real tool or
No,
way to look
nothing.
at
No, absolutely,
audience size
absolutely nothing.
or what was ranking well or anything like that. This is all literally best case guess scenario from what you could understand on the marketplace. Find a good
And
product, and that's it. And that's what it
I
was, and it
remember
did
I
well.
remember even keyword research. I couldn't do any keyword research through a specific tool, because I had to use Google. There were different platforms, and they weren't Amazon related. They
Right.
weren't collecting the data from Amazon, nothing like that. So the even the content, the listing content, I wrote the listing content myself. And I was stuffing the keywords there, and I was doing all this tests and experiments, and trying to see if there's any changes in keywords, in behavior of the listing and sales, and yeah, that was the time, man. And was amazing for me. It was painful at the beginning, obviously, because the loss at the end was, um, I didn't take it as a loss, because I take it as an investment in myself, even if
Right.
it
It's
wasn't
learning
planned.
opportunity.
Exactly, 100%. And this is what I always advise the people that I'm talking with. Don't take it as a loss when you're coming with something like this in your background, because it's a learning curve all the time, right? So we have to
Absolutely.
take it as a learning process. But I moved on, and it was a very pleasant. At the end of the day, it was a very pleasant experience for me. Again, even if I lost money, because the last inventory I had to sell it as with a loss, at a loss.
Right. I was going to say liquidate that inventory. So
Yeah.
can't sit on thousands or hundreds of units just at your home or anything like that. So fast forward to exiting your business, you either sell off that units at a low cost or you move on. You now develop a interest in why, almost like I could see your mind turning of why in that moment, why things were successful, how to be successful and help other people understand that from the beginning with the help of maybe some of these tools that are starting to come into market, your own strategies and learnings coming into factor. So what's that next natural progression for you? Online, you're getting all the data is start to become available through tools, through your own workings. What is that next step on this journey?
So yeah, Jungle Scout was launched. I said I can't stop here. So I was looking for a business partner, because I realized that if I want to do this full time, which I was, dedicated to do it full time, I didn't have any business left, any job. I didn't like, actually, wasn't the type of, guy to work, for someone, like doing a 9 to 5. Then this is how I don't know, this is how it's in my DNA. That's And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have a 9 to 5. um, and I this is how I met my partner Colin, which is the
Nice.
co-founder, is the CFO of the company right now. And we started again. I started with him, and in the same time, I realized that now I have some tools like Jungle Scout that gives me the leverage of doing more tests. I had the money. I had quite of a big experience from the first year of selling, and failing. And I said, well, this is the moment. I have to go all in and start working with other people in the same time. So I learned all the processes, because I created a list with, all the processes that needs to be achieved and done to successfully sell and manage to grow a product, listing a business on Amazon, selling on Amazon. And
Great.
I start spending the obsessed amounts of hours. And fast forward, when I realized that product research is the main struggle uh, for everyone, and that when I realized that was the thing that made me fail, then I said, Colin, I personally want to stop selling on Amazon, because this is what I believed. I have to spend all the time and energy to direct everything on creating this platform that we have today. It's called
Mhm.
AMZ Savages. And we started with the service. And even if I personally, I was lucky enough, because I worked initially with a lot of people that understood um, me, and they were very patient with me, because I wasn't that expert, at the beginning, know them all. I Even today, I know that I don't know them all, right? But
Right.
um, I this is how I managed to, through the service. So we started the platform with the service only, which is called A to Z new product launch. And after the first 2 years of working with other people and launching products constantly on a monthly basis at the beginning, and then we moved to weekly basis, and everything became more I accumulated more knowledge. I started, training more people. We created the branding team, photography team, sourcing team in China on ground. And I realized, well, now we're having through our clients more and more success, and we're spending very few amounts of money on marketing to advertise our services, and most of the clients we're getting through word of mouth. Then it means we're doing the right thing. But I wanted to step to move everything to the next level, and that's when I realized there's a huge gap in the market, in the industry, on product research.
Right. So you're probably, excuse me, by the way, you saw me coughing. I had to mute myself for that. So it's fascinating that you focus on the product research and the product development side of business. So obviously, if anyone went to your website right now, it's very much it's touted that you can find products to sell on Amazon very quickly and effectively, right? It's notorious to know that product research or finding good products to sell or even in development can take months, if not a year, up to a year, just to know the market, know the audience, know the tools. You don't want to go into such a competitive landscape where you're going to get lost. You also don't want a Me Too product. So there's all these looming, very dark, ominous things you have to avoid. You're touting a quicker response, but also knowing what's available, what people want to sell. How are you able to do that versus like other tools, technologies? Is it just because you've immersed yourself with suppliers and manufacturers, or what's kind of that thing that makes you stand out and helps you do it better than like another person who's going to dedicate that time or dedicate that energy and find something that's going to fit for them? Like how do you build up this catalog, if you will, of great, fantastic, ready to go products, or knowing what's going to line up for people effectively?
Well, first of all, we started actually with prior developing the product research tool. I realized that we need to spend more time on this task, on this process, by doing more in-depth product research, because after Jungle Scout, Helium 10 was launched as well, and I discovered Helium 10 having more tools and better tools. How I see it, actually, Helium 10 is having very good tools available right now, but like Jungle Scout, like all the other platforms that are available right now, they don't have something specialized on product research, like everything on the plate, like doing everything for you. So you need to learn how to do the product research by yourself. So you need to have that learning curve, which is, again, in the same time, is not educating you, but it's giving you that tool where you have all those criteria, and you have
They
to
have
learn how to
boxes and you
do
have
it.
to fit it. Yeah, you have to fit into the boxes. So
And you
yeah, I
have to
get.
know the thresholds, and you have to know all these things. And
So
we
you're
did
saying
it.
that yeah, I was gonna say, so you're taking it a step further or a step back further. Like if you're taking it a step back, you're talking about what do I even want to potentially sell in the first place? Like what's a viable even option, if you will, right? Like
Yeah, I
people
mean,
look at those options, they're like, well, I don't know what's available. I don't know if I want to get in arts and crafts or anything like that, or a home garden or baby or anything like that. They all have their own unique pros and cons, right? So you're saying you take a little bit more approach of like more customized approach. Is that what you're saying?
well,
To find product.
it's about it's there's two ways of launching products on Amazon. um, Having product that it's already available on the market, validating that product through different criteria, and how how we do product research here, and how the tool is programmed to work, is through two different processes. It's product selection and product validation. There's two phases. Each phase needs to validate specific criteria, and each criteria needs to stay within specific thresholds. So you have those tools available on the other platforms, but you don't know the thresholds, and you don't know all the criteria that you need to apply in order to validate that product. So getting back to how we do it and what are the options to start selling on Amazon, to launch successfully a product, is doing it with take a Me Too product, validate that product, improve that product, and make it different from the others. That's the most common method of launching a product on Amazon. And the
Finding
second
something that's
one
already
is,
selling and consistent, and then changing it enough where it seems unique, you can get
where's
people
it?
to spend with you.
100%. Where's enough room, right?
Mhm.
So, and that's part of the validation process. Um, and second, which is, in my opinion, is the most efficient one, but it's the most time consuming and it's the most expensive one. So not everyone have the opportunity, to launch a product through. The second option is through innovation. When you have to create a new prototype, when you have to invent a new product, even if it's something that exists, nothing is really reinvented, right? Nothing new is invented anymore. It's just the way that we're saying we're inventing a new product, but there's like this ball of water. It's, you just take it and maybe you somehow reinvent the shape of it, and you add some features on this bottle. So for this, you need to actually create a prototype, and then you need to create molds, and this is a very time consuming process. Usually takes around 4 or 5 months on average, and people don't have the patience. And also it costs a lot of money. A mold can cost from a couple of $100 to, for a prototype, to tens of thousands of dollars. And depending on, the complexity of the product, of the prototype, can take between a month to 4 or 5 months. It depends. So these two ways are, the most efficient ways. I personally don't know any other way that can, you can launch successfully a product and make it achieve that success by, outselling the competition.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's just a Me Too product, and that's it.
Right. Yeah, you're just copying, buying it, find the same product on Alibaba, for example, or some sort of supplier,
which is
putting it
which
up
is
there
awful.
either.
Alibaba, we don't use Alibaba. I never recommend to use Alibaba.
Okay,
It became in the last 2-3 years, it became the Amazon sellers marketplace.
sure.
Unfortunately, there's only not only you can still find real suppliers, direct suppliers there, but most of the, listings that you find on Alibaba when you're searching for a product there for a factory are middlemen, are
Right.
the agents,
Okay.
which are increasing the production price at least twice, 2 times, 2x, to even 5x. I discovered lately, which is
Right.
awful.
Right. There's a lot of uptick in terms of pricing. We see it across logistics. You see it a lot of, cost of goods. Everything tends to go up, and there's so much to consider. So we're talking about, just to recap for a listener out there, we're talking about two different ways to develop product. Find what's selling well, find the audience, know that there's wiggle room, know that it's selling well, but then also develop it enough differently so that it can actually have success in that market. A piece of the pie, if you will, take that away from top sellers. But then also developing unique products and customization takes a little bit longer to make sure it's specific to what your criteria, what it wants to do, the look, the feel. Takes a little bit more time to get that up and developed. So if I'm a listener and I want to jump into one of those two avenues, for example, we'll stick with what you know best. How are we coming up with those ideas? Is it you developing, you and your team, a strategy, or is it me coming to you, Fabian, and saying, hey, I saw this was trending on Pinterest, for example, or on Facebook, or I know that this is a market that I saw a gap in. I think we can really find a product that will fit in that market and do it well. Like where do you go from there?
Like, let's get back to our service.
Yeah, sure.
So for example, you want to launch a product through our service, and we have two packages. One is when the client comes with his product, with his idea, and either with the product already having sourced and having it validated
Hmm.
by him through his criteria and through his validation process, or when you have the money and you have the willingness and you have the dedication, you have the time, but you don't know the process. You don't know how to start, where to start from.
Sure.
And when you have the product, we revalidate the product for you using the different criteria that we're applying, like the price, your budget as well. Everything starts with the budget, by the way, and nobody
Mhm.
speaks about it, man. This is crazy for me when I see everyone, and there's a lot of people, a lot of very good people in the industry, teaching other people how to sell, and doing mentorships. But I've never seen webinars, courses, conferences that I've attended for people to speak about how much money do you have to invest into this business. Because
Hmm.
literally, when you want to start a new business, no matter uh, um, the area, you have to know how much money do you have available for that business.
So you're
You
talking
have to have a
about almost
budget.
taking. So yeah, I think there's a good point. So I'll add on to a little bit that a lot of people now shy away from how much do you need to start on Amazon. You're talking about a different approach of how much are you willing to invest, and then we can curtail of what would fit. You can find success at different levels, is what I'm going to probably assume you're going to say. You can find success at different budget points. How much success is
Yeah,
actually going to
exactly. You
it's
got it
actually
right.
going to dictate how much you're willing to invest. You can find success at 10,000. You can find success at 5. It may not be at the scale you want it to be, but you can still find success. So that's where you're saying just people need to start and go the other way.
Well, this is another. Yeah, it's actually a reverse engineer of
Sure, exactly.
how the majority of people are doing it, and that's why they end up failing, because they don't know. First of all, they don't know they will get stuck with the cash flow if they don't have enough money. So when you're working on a budget and that budget is low, then most of the times, unfortunately, people are ending up getting stuck with the cash flow and they have to quit because they won't have any more money to sustain inventory levels and marketing, restocking in real time, doing re-ranking or maintaining ranking. So this is a huge thing, and that's why I'm saying I can't emphasize more on the budget. Everything has to start with the budget. And another important thing from my experience launching, after all these years, launching almost 1,300 products on
Wow.
US marketplace and UK marketplace, these two marketplaces alone, I know for a fact that on the US marketplace, you can launch, and this is how I've seen a lot of people unfortunately misleading the majority of people who wants to start selling on Amazon. These gurus, right? They say you can launch successfully a product with $5,000 today as we speak. Yeah, you can do that. You can do. I totally agree with that, but it's not enough. I mean, you have to start selling that product, and you have to grow that business, right? Because that's why you're doing it. It's not
Right.
just for fun, just to throw some inventory, spending some money and time, those $5,000, and then you end up not being able to do a proper ranking because you don't have enough inventory. You're expecting to get profits from the first inventory, which is literally not possible on Amazon today. um, and to reinvest in the second inventory, cover the cost for the shipping of the second inventory, and still have enough money for re-ranking or maintaining ranking and doing marketing. It's not possible, man. So
You make a good point. It's like to kind of make this in context for a listener out there. There's been so many good points that people have lost sight of the actual trailing and the ability of where money is going to go, and making sure that you get the full picture of how that looks, right? Building on itself. We're talking about not just launching a product, right? Everyone thinks Launching product from
No, it's
start
not
date, it's
enough.
$10,000, right? It's $10,000, but that's actually not the amount that you're looking at. Let's call it $10,000. You said everyone understands or should understand by now, if you're listening to this podcast, is that money gets tied up in inventory. Your 10,000 now isn't sitting in your inventory. You have money now you need to add on top of that to your rank, which again, there's so many different strategies that are both white, gray, black, hat, which we only
And they are
promote
expensive.
white, and they're expensive. You have to do advertising to PPC, or if you're doing direct to consumer, you also have to invest in that. Logistics in general, to making sure you have enough inventory so that when your current products are out, you need to have it restocked and on the water by the time it gets ready. So
In
you
real
can,
time.
in real time, you're paying either VAs or employees to help you out. If you aren't, then your time is sunk into all those other opportunities. So
Absolutely.
money, although it might seem like I'm investing 10,000 in product initially, that money you don't get, you are reinvesting that money into other avenues along the way. And any profits, they're going right back into your inventory to grow it. And you may not even pay yourself out potentially until a month or two down the road. And if that's the case, it's not supplementing your current.
And that's a very
exactly.
optimistic scenario.
It's very optimistic. That's if you happen to hit. Again, this is not to paint a vague picture. This is to paint there is lots of different factors you need to now include in your business model and plan, which is what we're talking about today.
And that's another thing, because you mentioned about having inventory, a good inventory management, and having a continuation in stock. People, most of the people that start selling on Amazon, and they're just starting and they're discovering everything by themselves, or they're taking in information from there to there. There's a lot of information out there. It's very hard to select the right thing. So you're doing trial and error, like I did in the early stages. You need to have enough funds to cover the second inventory, the cost for the second inventory as well, and the cost of the shipping for the second inventory too.
So is that where most people are missing right now? Is that would be my major takeaway, is that your business plan has to include second inventory run and second shipping costs as well. Absolutely. That's why I think a lot of people miss.
Okay. Absolutely. And then the second inventory needs to be proper calculated, initially estimated, and then recalculated along the way based on your initial sales velocity after you start selling. Because
how do you plan for that? Like a seller's gonna that's listening, how are you planning for that early on in your initial investment? Is there a conservative sales 1x or 1.5, or what are you?
No, it's just related based on data analysis. So
okay.
We're collecting data from the niche, from the main competitors. We're analyzing the main competitors, at least 10 of them. And this is what the tool is doing actually too, automatically. So we managed to we managed to automate this process through the tool. And there's no average. It can increase or decrease the amount of inventory. Usually we start from an average based on the initial budget, and then once we validate the product, depending on the numbers, we increase the amount of inventory for the second batch. And it's just people don't look at that. And people don't take that into consideration. And that's when today, as we speak on Amazon, if you run out of stock without creating enough sales history with the algorithm, you'll be punished very hard.
Right.
And to re-rank a new listing is very painful. It takes a lot of time and money most of the times, which you have the time, but money, most of the people don't have extra funds.
So so I would say that's a good point. And I guess to wrap up, I know we're already I would talk to you more about this time, but for sake of time, let's put a bow on this. Where do you see, I guess, with product research being more involved more you have to forecast for. It's not as easy as throwing up a single product. If I'm a seller listening to this, what is the number one thing, or what's another thing that they need to walk away from us talking today that they would have to know to go into the rest of this year, but also plan for early next year? What would you say to those kinds of individuals?
So first of all, they have to decide how much money they have. They have to. I know it's
Establish a budget. Okay.
establish a budget. I know it's a very sensitive subject, and I know there's a lot of people avoiding, asking other people, "Hey, how much money do you have to invest into this?" Right? I know it sounds strange when someone is asking you how much money do you have. Uh, it's like you're asking, "I need those money," right? But it's not. Um, this is not true. It's you need to establish a budget, a real budget. After you establish the budget, then you have to analyze the data. You have to collect the data through keyword research, and all the all the all the keywords gives you enough info on the niche, but you need to do that collection data from as many points as possible, as many competitors or future competitors as possible. And once you have that data, the keywords can give you enough information to take a decision if that product, it's a solid product, has enough potential, and also can give you enough insight of your future sales velocity, monthly sales velocity once that product reaches maturity, once that product is ranked organically on the maturity of the relevant keywords. So this is how you can, establish an average amount of units that you'll sell on a monthly basis. So this is how you initially can estimate the initial inventory and the second inventory, and how to forecast the number of those. So I believe this is the most important one. And then to validate, to completely validate and end the circle of validation for that product, you need to use a business plan. I say a solid business plan, because in the business plan, you have to include every single expense, every single fee that is charged by Amazon, every single ongoing cost and marketing cost. And Amazon, man, is charging a lot of fees. You have storage fees, you have long-term storage fees, you have
Shipping fees are actually going up as of October 1st for Q4. So they're actually holiday fees will now attribute to all of Q4. For a listener out there, if you're not planning for a higher cost for shipping, not just on a day-to-day, but if Amazon fulfilling, they're going to pass it on more than likely to you starting even as of October 1st. So be aware of that as another thing.
It's
so
awesome.
Those fees do a lot. And as we at PingPong say too, even in selling in different marketplaces, just converting funds from your remittance out to different kinds of localized currency, Amazon will take a cut of that, but it's not even a line item. It's essentially we were doing this for your favor, but if you use a service like a PingPong, you can keep more of those money to your bottom line. But anyways, you're saying like line by line, you need to have as intricate details as you can potentially have. FBA fees, storage fees, shipping costs, everything line by line, as accurate as you can potentially do it, all up front before you even press go.
PPC. So I can continue till tomorrow. So you have the marketing, you have the ranking, marketing, which includes on-site, the PPC. So you need to estimate those numbers too. You have to have an established budget for marketing, and you also need to have prior launching and prior validation. And during the validation process, you need to, based on the keyword research, you need to establish, okay, what keywords do I want to rank initially on to gain momentum so I can start making organic sales as fast as possible? How many units do I need to rank on those keywords? How many units I need to sell? Because the basics, the main principles of ranking. is sales velocity, and of course after that there's a multitude of other factors that contributes to organic ranking on Amazon. But the main one is sales velocity, right? If you don't have sales, your organic ranking is poor. If you have sales, then you're competitive with the rest, so you can increase your organic visibility on site. So you need to have all those things written down during the validation process, so you can see at the end if those numbers make sense, if you have enough net margin, if it really makes sense to start investing time and money into that product or not.
Well, those are great tips, and I think you always have to come back to, even if you're an established brand or if you're just starting out on this journey, it's very important to know that these are the basics that you have to do with any product launch, whether you have 10 already in your stable or if you're launching your first 10 or whatever that might be. It all has to hit those numbers. Otherwise, it would not make sense for you to go into business, and it would just be a loss leader for you. It doesn't help you go into exiting your business or down the road. But Fabian, now that we're at the top of the hour, so much great insight from you, obviously a person who's been in the industry a very, very long time. With you and your team as experts, how do I, the listener, get in touch with you? Is that through your website? Is that through social media? How are we reaching out to get your help, if you will, if we're struggling with this?
The best way to get in touch with me personally directly is through the website, is through the platform. It's amzsavages.com. We offer a service, a launch service, and we have right now we have the product research, legendary product research tool available. It's up and running, and I am 100% sure, because I know the industry, that is the most unique. I know everyone says about their things, about their achievements, that is the most unique, is the most special, is the most. But I recommend you people to have a look, and you won't be disappointed, because it's something that it applies everything that I explained to you in this hour, and it's not failing. Of course, you have to still put in the work and see how you can better improve that product, how you can differentiate that product, and how to make everything better. Because again, even if us or the tool we're giving you something on the plate which validates a multitude of criteria and offers you the projections, the potential numbers for that idea, for that product, we still have to put in the time and take the time and understand the product and see how we can better do everything. So the best way to do it is through the website, amzsavages.com.
Amazing, man. Well, I thank you for your time. Again, this is such a topic that continues to evolve. I know your strategies have evolved over time, but that's your job, is to stay ahead. Thousands of products now that you've launched, which is quite amazing. I guess for the audience, what's your favorite product, real quickly, that you've launched to date? Is there one that stands out in your mind?
It's the most simple product. Actually, it's one of our most successful clients in top 5. Is the bestseller in the niche, and I'm very proud of it. It's in the instant pot niche. I don't want to say it.
You don't have to tell us specifics, but that's a good
niche,
product to be in.
Instant pot niche, instant pot cooker, and it's the bestseller in his niche. And it's amazing, actually. It's a 7 going to 8-figure seller after the first 2 years.
Wow. Well, congrats on all the success and helping other people. Again,
thank you very much, man.
For everyone else, we'll kind of do that in our sign up. But thank you for your time today, and best of luck. I know we'll see you in the future. Again, now friend of the show at Crossover Commerce, Fabian David. Thank you so much for hopping on today.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
No problem. Thank you. Again, that was Fabian David of AMZ Savages. You can go ahead and check out his website below in the comment section, or if you're listening to this on our podcast platform, wherever your favorite podcast platform is, you can listen to it there. go ahead and just rate it a nice 5 stars, because that was such amazing content, as always, that we get out of our guests on the show. Go ahead and check them out on AMZ Savages. Connect with them on social media. You can do that on all those platforms. And check out the show notes below. We kind of point you in those general directions as well. But again, fantastic today with episode 148 of this podcast. We talked about product research. We talked about different strategies and tips for you as sellers. It's also very important to take away to note that not just factoring in costs for your first order, but it's super important to know your second order and getting all those fees in order so you know what you can invest. And if you can't invest in that, maybe it's time to take a step back and reevaluate your situation and what you want to do with Amazon or online. That being said, again, this is Crossover Commerce. This is my corner of the internet where we talk anything and everything Amazon and e-commerce. Go ahead and check us again live on our social media platforms, or you can listen to us on all of your favorite podcast channels. Next time we'll have actually be going live again tomorrow. Go ahead and check out and follow us on social media to be notified when. Click that little notification bell, or just follow us on any of our platforms. Again, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter are the best ways to be notified when we do go live. That being said, I'm Ryan Kramer. We'll catch you guys next time on Crossover Commerce. Take care.